So gamers, I've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube in the past couple hours talking about Guinaifen being the best 4-star character, and I know nothing about her. So Your Lab posted something, something on her. I haven't read it yet at all. So we're gonna go over and look at kind of what she does or her traces and stuff like that, and see why people think that she is going to be the best 4-star in the game. I'm very curious to see why this is. All right, so let's just hop into it here. This is probably going to be a super short video if I had to guess. Personal matters. I just kind of want to see what her traces do here. Alright, so trace number 1, high pulls. Basic attack has a chance of inflicting enemies with a burn state identical to that of the one applied by the skill. So the skill is going to be doing damage to a single target, also damage to adjacent enemies, with a chance to burn the target and adjacent enemies. When burned, enemies will take fire dot at the beginning of each turn. So basically they're taking 2 fire dots. That's what I'm assuming from that. So they're going to be having 2 dots on them instead of just 1 dot on them, which means Good Night Sleep Well will probably be really good for her, just because it works off of the number of debuffs on the enemy, and if this is applying multiple debuffs, that could be really good as far as extra damage for her. Let's see, at the beginning of battle, Guinaifen's actions is advance forward. So I'm assuming what this means is she'll basically be going first, maybe this pushes her up first. That's really big. That means you can go ahead and just proc your fire dots off on the enemies altogether. So if you're using a Kafka on the team, either you can get a follow-up with Kafka really early on if you want to use like just a normal single target attack, or if you want to use her skill here, use her skill and then use Kafka after that to reproc the dots off again. That's pretty big. And then we have our last trace, which is going to be dealing more damage to burned enemies. So just whenever the enemy is burned, you're dealing more damage to them. So this means she could be viable like a full fire comp, like with maybe Hook, or just someone else that procs fire dots or something like that off on the enemy, right? But there's not really many of that in the game, unless you get like super lucky with Asta, break with Asta, Himiko can as well, and then also Hook will burn the enemies too. But those aren't the best options. I still think the best option will probably be run her on a team with Kafka. Now, after looking at all this, I still don't see how she's the best character in the game, honestly. So let's take a look at her actual talents and skills and stuff like that. Let's see here. Wait, what's that? Standing Ovation. This is, basic attack and talent. Okay. Single target damage on an enemy. Very cool. I like her animations. Her animations do look pretty sick. I like how she just kind of burst up with her staff and like hits it. Dude, it's so cool. Anyways, Patreon benefits. There we go. While Guinaifen's on the field, there's a chance to apply a Fire Kiss to an enemy after their burn status causes damage. While inflicted with Fire Kiss, the enemy receives more damage. Fire Kiss lasts for a set number of turns. You can stack a set number of times. Oh, okay. So that one ability we talked about earlier with the double stack of the burn actually helps us out a lot, because it'll be double stacking this ability. So instead of when you apply the Fire Kiss, instead of like whenever it causes damage 1 time, now that burn effect's causing damage 2 times, so you're double stacking that damage increase on the enemies. And with it being an AoE attack, this can apply to every enemy on the field. Take my headphones off real quick. As you know, doing, I guess, like debuffs on the enemy inherently will give you more damage than actually buffing up your allies. It's a better way to deal damage, right? It's a more productive way, or you get more damage out whenever the enemy is debuffed versus a buff, right? Like an attack buff versus a defense down, you're going to be getting more damage out of a defense down versus getting an attack or damage increase, because you're bringing the defense down, so you're doing that. So this right here is going to be really huge, because Fire Kiss is going to allow you to deal more damage to the enemies, so that they're just receiving more damage overall. So it's kind of bypassing their defense or any of their, like, I guess, elemental resistances or just resistances in general. This is gonna be really good right here. Okay, so maybe they might not be coping. They might not be coping. Hey, but maybe no copium here. Maybe no copium here. Technique. I mean, the technique's okay. It's going to be immediately attacking the enemy, deals damage for a set amount of time, with each hit dealing fire damage to a random single enemy each time, and a chance of inflicting Fire Kiss on the target. So, I mean, it's okay. I don't think that's something you would necessarily want to use when entering battle, but maybe, I don't know. It doesn't look that good, right? I kind of wish that they would add more techniques into the game where it's like off-field technique. Like Jingli Yu's technique is amazing because you don't actually have to use her to go into battle. It's just kind of like an AoE thing. Same thing with Fu Xuan, right? You just activate it. Same thing with Lynx. You just activate it. You can attack with anyone else and still get the buff there. I kind of wish they would have more like that, but I mean, I guess they do have to switch it up sometimes because the last couple characters we've had have been like this right here. Alright, now skill. We talked about skill a little bit earlier, but we'll go over it one more time. It's going to be dealing damage to a single target and adjacent enemies as well, and then also it has a chance to burn that target and adjacent enemies, meaning, like I said, if the talent pops off, or your trace pops off, you're going to be double burning the enemy, which means everyone is taking increased damage. So that means Kafka inherently would do more damage if you're running her on a Kafka comp, or really just anyone. I think she could be a better option than Sampo in the Kafka comp, just because if it's an inherent damage increase and it's just not a dot increase, right? So I think that's pretty big right there. And then finally, the ultimate, her doggos are coming out to play. Deals fire damage to all enemies. If the target enemy is currently inflicted with burn, their burn status immediately produces damage equal to a certain percentage of their original damage. So this also helps to do additional damage as well, because you use a skill, you proc fire dots off on all of them. Every time they take fire dots, it increases the damage they take. You use the ultimate, you attack all enemies, you reproc all those dots off, you reprocs those dots, which then inherently increases the amount of damage they take even more so you could combo this into a Kafka ult and then pop off. I don't think she is the best 4-star in the game. I do think she is one of the better 4-stars in the game. Maybe number 2, number 3, it just depends on how much, I guess, we'll have to wait to see when she comes out, how much extra attack or how much extra damage we can deal to the enemies, or what the actual Fire Kiss debuff is. Like, how much can we actually do extra to that enemy? I think it showed in the trailer actually. Let me see what that said. All right, so hopping into the live stream here, as you can see from the live stream, there's actually going to be there's 3 stacks here. It's set to a set limited terms. It cannot be removed, which means enemies cannot remove this debuff, which is huge, right? But that's not the main thing, right? Is I want to know how many stacks this is going to be able to actually stack up. Is it set to 3 stacks? Can you go higher than that? I feel like increasing damage received by 21% is still pretty big, even if it is just that, right? But we'll have to wait till it actually comes out and see. I mean, I think she'll probably be better than Pela, honestly. I think that increasing damage received is a little bit better than a defense shred, in my opinion. I haven't done any testing on this. I just think from other games that I played, usually increasing damage received is better than a defense shred. But I could be coping out on this, and I don't know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and whatever you think about this. Anyways, gamers, that's really going to do it for today's video. I think that Guinaifen's great. I think she looks really, really nice. She looks really, really good. I don't think she's the best, but I do think she's up there. I think she's probably better than Pela. So, very good there. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you gamers enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one later. Bye-bye.